The first thing was I asked you to please fill out the Excel file and then email it to Feather Mountain. Have you all done that? Good. Okay, then we have no problem. And next, it's vowels and consonants, chapter 5. Any questions?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
It says in
On page.
48, the frequency of the third format.
Frequency.
Frequency of the third format
Right.
is very much affected by the position of the lips.
Right.
But I don't really get it. How does that really work?
That's an easy question to answer. Remember for format 1, it's the flicking format and the creaky format. That's format 1. Format 2 is whistling and whispering. Format 3, we don't have any particular space that we can measure or point to. We don't have any little tests like that. Format 3 has mostly to do with lip rounding and R's, rhotics. And they go together because in English, R is rounded. So one thing we can tell you is that it has to do with lip rounding, but we can't tell you which space it is.
I thought it's something affected by the position of the tongue.
The position of the tongue will also do it, but the main thing about F3 is really hard to describe. We can't tell you exactly what goes into it. A bunch of different things go into it. But the one thing we're sure of is lips. So it definitely involves lip rounding and R's. Those are the two things you need to remember. Other things are going on inside, and for all this stuff that they've written about the formants, and we rely on them a lot in phonetic analysis, we still do not understand exactly what they are, exactly what part of the oral cavity creates each formant. We can only tell you generally. F1 and F2, those are just general guidelines. It doesn't really solve the whole problem, but it gives you a pretty clear idea. As for 3, just remember rounding and R's. That's enough.
It also
Says
on page 42 and 43
okay.
that format 2, second format, has something to do with lip rounding.
That's right, because F1 is about tongue height. F2 is mostly about frontness or backness of the tongue. So just remember those 3 ways of classifying the formants or keeping track of them. F1 is creaky and flick formant, and it has to do with tongue height. F2 is the whistle and whisper formant. It has to do with if the tongue is more front or more back. But the relationship between the tongue being front or back is not quite as 漂亮, as 干脆, as it is, as tongue height is with F1. Tongue height in F1 is a pretty good correspondence. Tongue frontness or backness corresponds to F2, but the 关系 is not quite so 漂亮 as F1 is with tongue height. So 关系已经有一点点暧昧, but 跟它的前后有关. And then for 3, it's what I just described. And if you have that clear in your head, I think that's good enough. Then we're going to just start looking at numbers. Is that okay? Yeah, good. Thank you. Good question. Anything else? Anybody else questions on chapter 5 of vowels and consonants? Were there things that you really didn't get? There still should be things that you didn't quite get because we haven't gone over the basics of acoustics yet. Yeah?
On page 46, it talks about different English accents.
Right.
And I wonder, how does bad and bad sound in U.S. northern cities dialect?
How do bat and bad sound in northern cities?
Yeah.
All right. I come from the Twin Cities in Minnesota, and we actually are also influenced by the northern cities accent. And I think I told you I got made fun of by somebody once because I said you peg instead of pig. So I sort of goes down to eh. Now you know that link that I put on Facebook, a vowel trainer, accent training coach software? You will hear northern cities accents there because I got a lot of the vowels wrong myself. Because they're picking out vowels from the speech of many different people. And there's one thing I don't agree with that they do, is they use a short vowel for the coda of the syllable. That means short vowels are not supposed to occur in open syllables, right? Well, you can say that's not really true, like kitchen, that's an open syllable. So I don't go that far. I will only say that short vowels do not occur at the end of a word. For that I can be pretty sure, unless it's onomatopoeia or a foreign word, etc. So short vowels do not occur at the end of a word. And in this software, he has sounds like h, he, hu, like this. And it's really hard to tell the vowels because these sounds do not occur in English. We do not have h. We have he, but it's only as onomatopoeia, he, when you're laughing. So you can, what I was saying is you can hear some examples of the northern cities vowels in there. When they say he, it was supposed to be here, but I heard eh. So I got a lot wrong as a native speaker, and I have an ongoing conversation now with the person who designed this software. And we're finding out where we disagree. We're not going to agree, so we're just finding out where we disagree. Now, mainly what I can say is like he will become he. Like pig, when I said it that time and got made fun of, was I said peg. And milk sounds like milk. And I remember saying that a lot when I was a kid. So I've got some northern cities influence in my English. Not so much now, but more when I was younger. As for the other ones, I can't give you precise things, but I'm sure you can find it online. This gives you an idea, though. Okay? They tend to get lowered as far as I can tell. Anything else? Quickly, because we got lots of real fun stuff here. Anything else? That's it? What chapter should you work on for next week? Finish. Chapter 6 for next week, yes. And if you still don't understand things, write them down in your notes. As we go through acoustic phonetics, a lot of things will become clear. And then you can go back to your notes and see the parts that you didn't get the first time, and you'll go back and you'll get them the second time. Okay? Everybody will. I promise you. That was vowels and consonants. Please hand in your summaries. What we're mainly going to do today is work on more web pages, because without the web pages, we really are not ready for Chapter 8, especially the way it's now structured. So if we're really fast and efficient, which we almost never are, we'll try to do 3 web pages. If it's business as usual, maybe 1.5. So we'll just see how things go. But no matter what, it's going to be fun. It's just really interesting and cool, because we're going to be figuring out things that were around you, that are around us, always have been, but we never were aware of. Like, I heard your shocked reactions when I showed you the difference between ah and everybody went, oh! That was pretty cool, wasn't it? Now that's one example of something that has been around all the time, but you had no idea you had all those lines in your voice, right? You just had no idea. That's a tiny example of other things that are coming. They're there, and they're really interesting, but you never ever thought of it, didn't know about it. A lot of things like that. Beyond that, there are many things that are like that that we're not going to do in this class. So I think nobody has the right to be bored in this life. We have no right to be bored. There is so much interesting stuff. You're just not looking if you're bored, right? Your brain is tired out. You don't feel like doing anything. But as for things to explore in this world and in this life, I think it's limitless. They're just things around you that you're saying, oh, there's nothing to do. But look at all those lines, you know? Learn about the lines. All those overtones. We're going to go over the same page again so that we can put in the part about the guitar. And let's try to arrange it so we can have the page open and that we have our guitarist in a place where the camera can photograph her. It's going to be a female, I guess. We've been over this page, but now we're going to actually demonstrate how this stuff works. We demonstrated with the software on the computer, but now we're going to do it with a physical object. And I told you that we have a fundamental frequency, that's the pitch, how many times it vibrates in 1 second. But then the string, if we're talking about a guitar, it cuts itself in half and the 2 sides go bouncing up and down in opposite directions. And then it also, at the same time, cuts itself into 3 pieces, 4 pieces, 5 pieces, etc. Now, we saw the overtones displayed with the software, but now we're going to use our ears and we're going to use the tuner. So you can get the tuner already to actually experience them in the real world and not just on the computer. Okay, that was partly real world because we were using a real voice. So we've got the guitar here. So Amy, do you want to go sit there? Actually, we only need 1 string. You can sit down. I'll put it on your lap. And you're going to lay it down like this. Because all you have to do is play one note, this one, E. It's the lowest note, and I pick it because we can go up higher without the pitch going way too high. That's the lowest pitch we have. And I added a little part to this page after class last time. And here we have the information we need for the guitar. The full length of one string, we need our measurer here, is 66 centimeters. So let's measure it to make sure. You need to measure it from the nut to the bridge. You need to measure the full length of E. They're all the same length, but measure this one. Okay, not down to there because the string stops vibrating here and it stops vibrating there. This is the nut and this is the bridge. All right, what's the length? Do we have 66 centimeters?
65.5.
If it's 65.5, then we need to, okay, it starts right here. It starts right here. And it ends here. So it should be 66. Okay, measure it over here. Actually, this is the string we're using. Not that it should make much difference. But it should be about 66. There we go. Okay. Careful, it'll hurt your finger if you're not careful. Now, let's just listen to that note. It's a low E. This is our first note. It's the full length of the string, and we're going to have vibration like this one will help us calculate, but I've already put the numbers up, so there. There's the harmonic series. You can look over on the right side. When we play just the open, we call this an open string, it's going to be vibration mode number 1, right at the top. It's just going up and down. That's what we're hearing. That's the pitch we're hearing. So go ahead again. All right, everybody get up. We're going to get close to the guitar. There's not that many of us. You don't need to bring stuff with you unless you're helping with the tuner or something. And then try not to block Amy because we're going to put it all on film. So can you leave a space in front? You need to leave a space in front so the camera can film. And our camera people, can you give us instructions on how to set it up best? Yeah, and just get a close-up. That would probably be the best. So don't stand right in front of the camera. And then make sure you can see and hear what Amy is doing. And we're going to test the pitch of the open string. So this is the microphone right here. And make sure it's close enough. What does it say?
G? Oh, E.
It's E. Let's do it again. Make sure everybody believes this. Okay? And if you see 2 red lights on it, that means it's right on the right pitch. It's not sharp and it's not flat. So this is E. Now, the whole length is 66 centimeters. We want to hear the first overtone. I didn't explain the difference between harmonic and overtone. I said they're about the same, but actually we count the fundamental frequency as the first harmonic. Then the next one up is the second harmonic and so forth. But with overtones, we say fundamental frequency, first overtone. So overtone will always be one less than a harmonic. Harmonic is the fundamental frequency. So harmonic or fundamental frequency. Harmonic, first harmonic, fundamental frequency. Second harmonic,等于 first overtone. Third harmonic,等于 second overtone. Just so you know, there's a difference in usage. It doesn't really matter, but it's good to keep it straight. So that was our first harmonic, our fundamental frequency. Now we want to hear the first overtone. In order to hear an overtone, when it's vibrating like this, let's look. Where is the largest movement on the string? In the middle, right? The middle goes up and down the longest distance. The ends, it goes up and down less. If we want to cut it in half, if we don't want to hear this fundamental frequency, we can suppress it by putting our finger right on the node. That's called the node, the place where it travels the farthest. That's the node. If we very lightly touch it with our finger, we're not going to hear the fundamental frequency because we suppressed it. What we will hear is what? We're going to hear the first overtone or the second harmonic, right? So we're just suppressing so we don't hear that fundamental frequency. That way we will be able to hear the tone that was there anyway. We couldn't hear it though because the fundamental frequency was too loud. It was drowning everything out. But if we take away just that note, then we can hear the other ones. But we won't hear these clearly because number 2 is louder than 3, 4, 5. So one at a time, we're going to be able to move one overtone up at a time, okay? So let's try it. First of all, it was 66 centimeters. Let's measure to 33 centimeters. It's going to be right at a fret. All right, that's your fret. Now, if you strum the string, then touch it very lightly with your finger. Or you can touch it first and then strum. Touch very lightly. Okay, I'll show you how to do it and then you'll be able to do it after this. This is the fret. So listen carefully, everyone. Oops, sorry. Do you hear an octave? That octave is the first overtone. That's what we couldn't hear because the fundamental is too loud. So practice and see if you can do harmonics. Okay, and then touch it lightly and then strum. There, got it. Can you hear? Dum, dum. Now we want to know if it really is an octave. It should still register as an E. Do we have an E? We got an E. Does anybody need to see it to believe it? You need to play it again. Okay, touch it before you play. There. Did we get an E? All right, so we've got one octave up. We cut it in half. Remember, octaves are, you multiply by 2 and you get an octave. Now, what do we want to do? We want to suppress some of the other overtones. We want a node to be right, or we want an antinode to be right here, right? I forget which is which now. Node, that should be a node. We want to touch it here so that we're going to hear the part that's divided into thirds. So if we touch it here, we're going to suppress this and that. But we will hear this because it's right in the place where it's not really moving. We're going to be able to hear clearly just the 7z E to nega overtone. Okay? So how do we get 7z? The whole thing is 66 centimeters? 22. So let's measure 22. You can measure from the top. Now, what are we supposed to get? What note are we supposed to get? Let's go back to our page so we know what note we're going after. Okay, see here? We've got 66 centimeters, we heard that. 33 centimeters, we heard the octave. The next one up is going to be an octave plus a fifth. So if we start on E, 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 then we have to go up a fifth. E, 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 that's supposed to be a B. Okay, that's a fifth up from E. So let's touch it and produce a harmonic at the 1/3 point and see if we get a B. Okay? Okay, what are we getting?
B.
We got a B. That is the 1/3 harmonic. Okay, it's better to touch it first then play. We get a better overtone. Lightly. There we go. Is it B?
Yes.
We got a B. All right, so now you're starting to believe me, right? After the B, what are we going to get? What's the next one up? This is the 3rd harmonic, the 2nd overtone. The 4th harmonic or 3rd overtone will be 1/4 of the length. Let's just go back just to remind ourselves what it looks like, although you all know what a quarter looks like. Okay, we're going to go to this one here, right? When we get to the quarter, then we have to take 66 and divide it by 4, and that's harder, isn't it? So let's just make sure it's right. 66 divided by 4. That's correct? All right. Everybody needs to, we always need to check our math. So that means that if we measure and go to the 16.5 centimeter point, that will be 1/4它的长度. Then we should be able to get the 4th harmonic. Let's try it. So measure 16.5 from the top and touch it lightly and then pluck the string. What did we get? We got an E. There we go. So now we're 2 octaves up. We went up 1 octave, we were another octave up. We're going to try just one more. I'm going to push the boundaries here a little bit, push the envelope. The next one will be 五分之一, and that should be 2 octaves. We're already at the 2 octave place, plus a third. So it's dum, dum, dum. It's supposed to go up a third. It's getting pretty high there. That should be a G. Okay? The only problem is, look here. You need to look at something here. Remember I told you that the 平均律 does not really agree with the 自然律. And you will see that here. With 平均律, a G at this point should be how much? 415.305 hertz. That's what it should be, according to 平均律. That way we've evened everything out. The intervals are all perfectly equal. But with 自然律, this is what we get. Is it higher or lower? It's lower. Now you'll see an example of what I was trying to say in class but couldn't easily explain. The 平均律 puts it up higher so that it's the right distance. It's the same distance from the other notes, from the other intervals. But if we just go by 自然律, this note would be 410. And that's why it's not going to fall right on the fret. So measure it. If you touch the fret, you will get the 平均律 note. If you touch the fret. But if you go by the measurement, you should get the 自然律 note. And the 自然律 will resonate. 你如果用的是平均律，它不会有什么共鸣。Okay, try again. There we go. What did we get? G sharp. Did you see a little green light go on? That means it's sharp, or flat, is it? I'm sorry.
Sharp.
Sharp, yeah. Okay. So it's a little bit off, 不完全一样. But we got the other harmonic. All right, how did we get those harmonics? We're suppressing the louder ones so we can hear the quieter ones. All clear? Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Yumi. Thank you, Bella. Good, thank you. All right, is everybody convinced? You're smiling, Yumi, so big. What are you thinking?
I always think about overtones and always mix with the fundamental frequency that I can't separate it. And as I use electric software or this computer, I can figure out. I don't think I can use guitar to figure out.
But now you know you can do it. Because when we do things on the computer, somebody 可以动手脚. Maybe they just designed the software to fool you. But this is the natural world. It actually is that way. It's exciting when it really works. We don't expect it to, and then it works. It came out really well. You did a good job on the tuner. So we know this much. Now this page should all be clear. Did you play around with the frequency analyzer? Last time I told you about the software? Did you play around with the frequency analyzer software? Remember the one that had the colored lines? Notes. Put it in your notes. Do it before next time. Have some fun with it. I'm not going to do it again because we've already seen that once. That covers this page. We're going to go on to the next page. Now, what we have just seen demonstrated and heard demonstrated, we're going to call the source. The source. 来头,来源. You need to know this because Professor Johnson's going to talk about it in the book, right at the beginning of chapter 8. Because we have a model of how sound works in human speech, and it's called the source filter model. First of all, you need to understand what the source is. We're going to go into the filter now, but you have to really understand what the source is. The source is a fundamental frequency which at the same time is emitting many overtones. That's the source. 很均匀, right? 非常的均匀. 乘以2, 乘以3, 乘以4, 乘以5, 乘以6, 一路上去. That is our source. So it's the tone that our ear hears as the actual pitch. It's all those tones above it that are related to it in a very, very tidy, 很均匀的 way, evenly distributed. That's our source. This is the source sound that our vocal folds are sending up to our vocal tract. So our vocal folds are like the guitar string, not perfectly, but good enough. The analogy is a very good one. When they're opening and closing, they've also, just like a manyu, they've got all these little parts that are experiencing their own mode and rate of vibration. 就是分一半，分三分之一，分三分之四三分之一，四分之一，五分之一等等。Our vocal folds are doing just what the guitar string did. That's our source. So it's sending up the fundamental frequency, all these overtones. It's sending this yuan liao up to the vocal tract. That's our start. That's what we call the, again, source. All right, we're speaking American, so we won't mix it up with jiang liao, because sauce in British is the same as jiang liao, sauce and sauce, right? Sauce on your potatoes, or sauce means the beginning of something. All right, so in American, we keep it clear. Here is the next web page, page 9. Vowels and formants, 1, resonance. Resonance in Chinese is 共鸣, 共鸣. This is already the beginning of the filter, because we're going to take this yuan liao and we're going to 加工处理. That's what the vocal tract does. 把这个原来的这个声音加工处理. It's going to change. We have already learned about fundamental frequency and harmonics, or overtones. The next step to understanding vowels is to learn about formants. Resonance is 共鸣, formants is 共振风. We know that. So the 共鸣, 的那个共是同一个共. We know that all voiced sounds have a fundamental frequency, that is, the number of times the vocal folds vibrate per second. And we know that in addition to this fundamental frequency are a theoretically infinite number of harmonics or overtones, or frequencies that are multiples of the fundamental frequency. These overtones decrease in amplitude the higher their frequency. So 分得越细，它的频率越高，它的振幅越小。Loudness decreases by about 6 decibels for each successive musical octave. We'll talk about decibels later, but you can first 你先做一个参考。每一跳到一个八度音，音量会降低6分贝。You can put that in your notes, because that's useful. We're going to need that in the future. Even though you don't understand about 分贝 and other things yet, probably. 你先做这个参考。So every octave 每一到一个八度音，不是每个 overtone 哦，因为不是每个 overtone 都会跳到一整个 octave， 对不对？所以每一个八度音，整个音量会降低6分贝。Okay? So far, we understand 100%, right? If it's not 100%, tell me, because I want everything to be absolutely clear. Because as soon as we get into physics, it's not like with 文的 you know, 你有一些东西没有听懂 they were probably just 很花俏的一个描述 doesn't matter, right? But with physics, every single bit or step is essential. Okay?
Can I ask,
Sure.
what's 共振风?
Okay, we're going to describe it in these 2 pages. So this is just the beginning. That is going to be the filter. When we get to that, we're going to be describing the filter, what the vocal tract is doing to this signal that's coming up. So we will explain it. That's sort of the point that we're leading up to. However, when producing vowels and other voiced sounds, some of the overtone frequencies are louder or more prominent to our ears than others. It's as though the volume is turned up on frequencies within certain ranges. What causes this? So if we have a signal that has a fundamental frequency of 100 hertz, we know we've got 100, 200, 300, 400 going up here, right? 从这里送到这里来. But when we do things with our tongue and other parts of our vocal tract, it's going to dull some of the frequencies. Just like on the guitar, if we actually touched on a harmonic, 它会很响亮, dong. But if we moved our finger just a little bit, it was dong, dong, dong. Do we need to demonstrate it, or is everybody already okay with me? Okay on this? 都可以吗？不需要表演了. All right. So if you're right on the frequency, it's going to go dong, it rings. But if you leave that frequency and it's not on a harmonic, 你刚好没有按到 该有 harmonic 的地方，或者比较响亮的 harmonic, it'll go dum, dum, dum. So, when the signal goes up into our vocal tract, there are certain spaces in our, start listening now because this will explain some of it. There are certain spaces that have a certain frequency. And when they match the frequency of the signal, that frequency is going to be 很响亮，就好像按到了它那个 harmonic 在吉他上。It will go 因为它碰到口腔的那个地方的时候，就刚好是它自己自然的那个频率。它进入那个空间，那个空间自己也有个自然的频率。That's what we're going to demonstrate now. So if it's not clear, it should be soon. Try blowing. I didn't bring over a soda bottle. I already had a lot of stuff with the guitar. So I'm just going to do it on the internet or on the web page here. You can do it at home if you like, but you will see the demonstration and I think it's pretty clear. So you take a soda bottle and you blow over it. It goes ooh, ooh, right? Then it will correspond to the natural frequency of the air inside the bottle. Now this is important. The bottle is empty. It has a certain frequency. 完全空的是那个空气在那个空间里震动的那个速率。That's its natural frequency. Does anybody have a water bottle? Not a bottle? If you're not using plastic, good for you. Because I don't either. I use this. You can't do it really with this. That's okay. A bottle like that, we're not going to dump it all out. I just didn't want to bring all that stuff. I could have. But we will see it demonstrated on the internet. You don't have to drink up because this doesn't work. All right? So if you have a bottle and you blow over it, if it's empty, you've done it before. You've all played with bottle blowing, right? Ooh, ooh. The reason we get that pitch is because when you're blowing in air, you're making the air vibrate. And one of the frequencies in your blowing, if you blow it just right, is matching the frequency of the air in the space of that bottle. 那个瓶子本身有一个它自己天然的一个频率，它就是它空的，完全是空气在里面，刚好那个空间的大小跟形状，你吹的话，它会以它自己天然、它自然的那个 frequency 去震动。That's why we hear the woo, woo, woo. However, if we add water into the bottle, what's going to happen to the pitch? It's going to become higher because the space occupied by the air becomes smaller. And that means it's going to have a higher frequency. It's going to have a higher pitch and a higher frequency. So from woo, woo, it'll go woo, woo, or something like that. That wasn't a good note for me. Woo, 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 woo. If we put more water in, woo, woo, it'll go higher. Okay? The bottle is a resonating chamber. This note corresponds to the natural frequency of the air inside the bottle. If you add water, the air space in the bottle will become smaller, and you will hear a higher note when you blow over the bottle again. On the other hand, if you strike the bottle, something different will happen. If the bottle is empty and you tap the bottle, what will happen? You're going to get a pretty high pitch. After you add some water and you tap the bottom of the bottle, it will go lower and then lower because what frequency are we getting? The frequency of the water vibrating. So as we get more and more water in there, the pitch will get lower and lower. But if we blow the bottle, the pitch will get higher and higher. That is resonance. Resonance. 所谓的共鸣就是这样子. That means we're exciting it at exactly the frequency, at exactly its natural frequency. 应该这么说. Exactly at its natural frequency, we're giving it excitation, either by tapping or by blowing. Blowing affects the air, tapping affects the water. We make it resonate. That's resonance. 所以吹的时候它很响亮，它很高兴，这刚好是它喜欢的频率. All right? For a virtual demonstration, visit this site and then try producing the sounds from the 3 jugs. They used to have a wonderful animation. 你可以按吹或者按敲, but they modernized their site and got rid of all the wonderful old stuff. So we can listen to it and we can look at a different site that has pictures. So this is the modernized version, and they don't have the old one up, unfortunately. It's called Jug Band Physics. Pictures are gone, it's just 文字. They don't even have the audio, but I saved the audio from 2年前，大概有10年了。They did keep the audio online. So we can listen to that. It's right here. Let's see how it goes. That one's hard to get. Okay. So, everyone's clear on what's going on? Okay. He added a good part in the explanation that I think makes it clearer why it works, a physical explanation. When you start adding water and then you tap the bottle, what happens? Why does it go lower? What explanation did he give? As you put more and more water into the bottle is getting heavier, right? And it's hard for the vibrations produced by our sound and transmitted by the sound of our voice or by a tap or anything. It gets harder for them to move something that's heavier. The heavier it gets, the harder it is to push it into vibration. The harder it is to push into vibration, that means the vibration is going to be faster or slower. And if the vibration is slower, the pitch is going to go. So that's a purely physical reason. Just by looking at how heavy it is, you know it's going to vibrate slower. All right? So when it's empty, then of course it's easy to vibrate fast because there's nothing heavy to push. And that should make that a lot clearer, just in very, very solid, concrete physical terms. You can imagine the vocal tract as a series of soda bottles or cavities with different shapes and sizes. We're now relating this physical demonstration or set of demonstrations to the vocal tract. What happens inside, around from here to here? It's like a series of soda bottles. 好像是一连串的汽水瓶，或者那个矿泉水瓶。I don't want to talk about 汽水. I don't even like talking about it. All right. So they have different shapes and different sizes, and they're all connected together. And the source signal is going through them to come out to the outside air. As it goes through them, it's going to have its pitch. It has all those pitches there. The pitches are all there from 100, 200, 300, all the way up. They stay there. But some parts of the vocal tract have a shape with a natural frequency that corresponds to one of the overtones that you're producing. So let's say that this space in the vocal tract, our pitch again is 100 hertz. One of the overtones is 300 hertz. And we've got a space in the vocal tract that vibrates exactly at 300 hertz. So when the series of vibrations from the vocal folds opening and closing goes through that space, it's like tapping on the bottle. So it's going to make it sound at a certain pitch. 因为它刚好有个空的一个空间，它这样子弹它的时候，它就会依它那个频率去发声，它就会蛮响亮。所以呢，我们的 fundamental frequency 100 hertz is loud. We all hear it as the pitch. 这个空间它自己天然的那个共鸣的那个频率是多少？我刚刚讲300。我刚刚说300，没有。The source is 100 plus overtones. 它要透过、要经过、要穿过的那个空间，它天然振动的那个频率是多少？300，对不对？那200。有没有一个空间有200的一个 natural frequency? No， 我们就是没有200的，所以我们那个100会听得很清楚 because that's our fundamental frequency. 200没有任何东西再给它加强，可是300它经过这个空间，那个300会怎样？会because it's very happy going through that space， 因为那个 space 它自己天然、它自己自然振动的那个频率就是300，它碰到那个100、200、300那个 overtone 的时候，那个 overtone 会特别响亮。Got it? Amy, clear? Yeah? You had science before, right, or not? Yeah, some I remember. The rest of you? Tina? Sort of clear? Whoever understood me pretty well, can you please explain it one more time in Chinese? We have to go through this every semester, right? 一个关卡是那个，就是上一次讲的那个 overtones。那现在从 overtones 我们要跳到 resonance and filter. So Whoever understood what I said, more or less, can you tell it again in Chinese? And if you're not quite right, I will correct you. 有没有人可以讲? Okay, let me just say it one more time. We're going to have more demonstrations that will make it clear, just like the other demonstrations did. We have a source. Its loudest pitch is 100 hertz, but it's got a series of increasingly softer pitches that are multiples of 100, which are 200, 400. So they're all coming up at the same time. So that means we're sending out vibrations at all of these frequencies at the same time. 100 is the most powerful. 200 is pretty strong. 300 is less strong. 400 still less strong. But they're still exciting the different spaces in our vocal tract. Now we have a space here above your tongue, below your tongue. Between your lips and your tongue is another space. It's probably one of the bases of F3. You know, the one that's close to your vocal folds, the one that's closer to your mouth. Those are all different spaces. We're calling them formants. 可是有大大小小的各式各样的不同形状的一些空间，在你的舌头在移动的时候，它自己就会造成很多的空的一些空间 ，right？ 每一个那个空的空间，它自己有一个自然会震动的一个频率，每一个都有。So if my hands are like this, that's one. I make them smaller, it goes higher. So this one has a natural frequency, it's lower than this one. So when the signal goes through this one, 它刚好它喜欢的那个频率，它自己会震动的那个频率就是300。那个300的那个 overtone 进去了，它就会that's my frequency。另外一个空间可能比它小，它喜欢震动的速率可能是700。所以700也会使它震动，可是它会很高，然后声音比较小，它可能是这样子，这里是and they all go together. It's like playing a chord, 好像个和弦一样。Okay? That's all clear? Let's just finish this and you'll get your break so we know what's going on here. Now, our vocal tract is like a series of soda bottles. 就是很多连在一起的，不同大小、不同形状的空间连在一起。Each cavity in the vocal tract will respond to vibrations, the fundamental frequency plus harmonics, coming from the vocal folds by vibrating at the cavity's own natural frequency. Okay, so we've got the signal coming up, fundamental frequency plus harmonics, coming from the vocal folds. Each cavity is going to vibrate at its own rate. It will be excited by one of the overtones or a couple of the overtones. The frequencies strengthened by resonances in the vocal tract sound louder than the ones without. 所以100本来就大声，300刚好有个空间有300这个频率，200就没怎样，我们听不到200有什么特别。可是300会很响亮，700也会很响亮，其他的就没什么。因为看它的空间，它自己自然的那个震动的那个频率，它就会加强这个 signal 这个 source signal 里面的某一些 overtones. That's the biggest thing. That's the hardest part. If you got that, we're in free. 剩下的就不会难 if you understood this. So that's source and filter. Source and filter. Which one has more information? Which one has more stuff in it? The source has tons of stuff, but the filter just picks out some of the stuff that it likes, and it ignores the rest. Now, there's one thing I have to clarify. 它不会真的那个加强音量，它不会加强，它只是不会把它压抑下去。没有那个空间，有这样子一个频率的空间的话，它就等于压抑了那个 overtone。其他的就让它充分的发挥。Okay? So it doesn't really add volume because unless we add more energy in the system, we can't produce more energy. All it can do is strengthen, it can just sort of let us hear more clearly what's already there and suppress what it doesn't want you to hear, what is not there. Okay? The vibrations from the vocal folds act like the airstream you blow over the bottle. 从你的那个声带那个发出的那个讯号，就好像你吹那个瓶子的时候的那个 airstream 一样。 The frequencies strengthened by resonances in the vocal tract sound louder than the ones without. That is enough for a start. Continue on to the next page. When you're ready, you'll see an amazing demonstration of how resonances in the human vocal tract produce the familiar vowels, a, I, e, o, u, and all the other vowels as well. Okay, we finished a page. Break time. Okay, we're going to go back now. And this is going to be another 很有震撼力的一个 demonstration. I mean, this is really amazing. Every year after students see it, they just go, oh, and they tell everybody about it because so far we don't really know what a vowel is. We don't know how we produce a vowel. We've learned formants, we've learned about long and short, we've learned about all kinds of stuff about vowels, but we don't really know how vowels are produced. But this will show you how it's done based on what we know so far. On the previous page, we learned about how a sound source can make a resonator vibrate and strengthen selected frequencies of the original sound. Make sure you understand that sentence before we continue. It's repeating, it's sort of summing up what we just talked about. A sound source can make a resonator, that space, one of those spaces I was talking about, vibrate. For example, this one likes 300, this one likes 700. And strengthen selected frequencies of the original sound. So the 300 sounds really 响亮, but the 200 gets no attention, so we don't hear the 200 very well. That's what this sentence is sort of repeating, okay? You can do another easy and fun experiment to show yourself how this works. Play a note on a piano or guitar string. After the sound has died out, sing this same note out loud. So we have another demonstration. Do we have a new guitarist? Does someone else want to take over the guitar? We still have the guitar here, so it doesn't matter. You don't, 不需要会弹, just pluck, that's all. Who would like to do the guitar? 浪费时间. Go ahead, Annie. All right, let's read the instructions. Go ahead, you can sit there and get ready. We play a note on the piano or guitar string. We don't have a piano here, we're going to use the guitar string. After the sound has died out, so it'll go dong, and then slowly it decays. We call that decay. Decay means 腐烂, but it means for a sound to slowly get softer and softer and then we don't hear it anymore. That's decay. So we play a sound, we let it die out. That's so we know which pitch we want to sing, to try and excite that string with our voice instead of with our thumbnail. Do we follow what we're talking about? Do you follow what I'm talking about? So we're going to play a string, let it finish vibrating, and then we're going to try singing at the guitar. And if we have the same frequency that that note produces when we strum it, what should happen? It'll go all by itself without touching it. All right? Have you seen that happen before? All right. Well, we're going to do it anyway. What the heck? It's pretty. And then we could also measure the frequency if we want to with the tuner. So all you have to do, pick a note that, who wants to sing? Who's not shy about singing? You want to help us? Yeah, can you help us? No, Sophie's our best singer here. No, hands down, no doubt about it. So let's pick a nice note that you like. Find one that you like. Have Sophie find one. That's a good one. All right, so get ready. You play it pretty hard, and then after it died out, you sing that same note, but you have to sing it at the guitar pretty loud. Get pretty close. Why don't you come over here and get pretty close? Okay? Now wait till it's done. You have to get close to the guitar. Let's get close to the guitar again so you can hear it. Everybody? So, sing ah. Sing ah. Okay, stop. You have to like shout at it. You have to shout the note at it, right at the string, and you will hear. I heard some resonance.
Yeah, I heard it.
I heard some resonance, but we need a little more.
Okay.
So get close and kind of shout. Beautiful. All right, that is resonance. This is resonance. 共鸣就是这样子. That's right. That was a really clear hum, wasn't it? It was a very clear hum. Thank you so much, Sophie and Annie. So, if we produce a vibration that's right at the same natural vibration of any kind of a body, of air, a string, of anything, if it's right at that same frequency, it's going to hum just like this, right? That's what happens in our vocal tract. When one of those overtones hits that note that that space likes, it's going to make it hum, just like that. Now clear? Okay? So let's go over this, make sure we got it. After the sound has died out, sing this same note out loud. Ah is good because your mouth is open and it's got much more volume. You will hear and see if you look. If you look at it, you can also see it vibrating. The piano or guitar string vibrating and producing a note without your having touched it or struck a piano key at all. The vibrations from your singing move the air at just the natural frequency of the string and set it into motion. Okay? Now it's all clear, right? Let's go on. The cavities of your vocal tract change in shape and volume as you move your articulatory organs to speak. When you're moving your tongue around, if it's like an E, part of your tongue is high up and there's a space back here. If it's an ah, then you've got a big space here, right? If it's an oo, you've got the tongue close to the velum here and we've got a bunch of space here. All of those spaces start humming as soon as the source signal hits them. And then their frequency keeps changing because the size of the space changes. So as long as we stay on ooh, this space will stay the same and it will resonate at the same frequency. But as soon as we move our tongue, ee, then that space has changed and then the humming part changes as well. And the note will change. 因为刺激那个空间的那个音跟刚刚那个音不一样。So it's like we have constantly changing 和弦 chords humming in our vocal tract as we are speaking. 可以吗? All right. We're mainly interested in 3 spaces. Okay, the cavities of your vocal tract change in shape and volume as you move your articulatory organs to speak. That means that their resonance frequencies will be constantly changing. The space gets bigger, the space gets smaller, the shape changes. It's going to have a different frequency. These different resonant frequencies are called formants. So each space or set of spaces, its size, its natural frequency, we were concerned about the first 3, F1, F2, F3. Those are the formants because each one will have a certain frequency at which it resonates. So when the signal comes up from the vocal folds, when we do an oo, this one will resonate. When we do an e, a different one will resonate at a different pitch. Are we okay? Yeah? Vivian okay? All right. So these are called formants. That is what a gongzhenfeng is. We've been talking about it all this time. Last semester I said, well, we're going to call it a formant, but I don't have time to tell you what it is. Now do you know how much explanation it would have taken to explain what a formant was last semester? A lot, right? And a guitar, and a tuner, and a measuring tape and everything. Formants show up on a spectrogram as the thick black bands you see superimposed on the overtones of a speech sound. So if you just look in your textbook, I don't think I even have my textbook out. It must still be in my bag. Goodness, 我上了一节课多，都还没有把课本拿出来。Okay, let's just 随便 pick a spectrogram. Look on page 194. Do you see those dark bands? Those mark formants 1, 2, and 3. And we did talk about those last semester, but we didn't really know what they were. Now we know what they are. Those are the areas that resonate in response to the signal being sent up based on their particular size and shape. Formants show up on a spectrogram as the thick black bands you see superimposed on the overtones of a speech sound. 它是套加在 overtones 的上面，某一些 overtones 会特别响亮，其他的就没什么特别加强。Remember to use a narrowband spectrogram to see overtones clearly. 有两种 spectrogram， 一个叫 narrowband， 一个叫 broadband. And very quickly I'll explain the main difference, but it'll take a lot of explaining to explain more theory about them. But never mind. If you just want to see overtones, use a narrowband spectrogram. That will show you those stripes really clearly. Remember, like last class, we saw those lines really clearly, right? That was a narrowband spectrogram. But if you want to see actual pitch really clearly, and the formants really, if you want to see the big bands of formants, and you want to see pitches, just a good bit of pitch, then you use a broadband formant. Oh, time, actually. The main thing we need broadband for is time. 时间上那个变化很快的时候，一定要用 broadband. Okay? So narrowband is to see the overtones clearly. Broadband is to see changes in time clearly. 因为变化很快，所以那个 broadband 会让你看每一个 pulse 的呈现。The problem with broadbands is you don't see the overtones very clearly, 很模糊。可是直的那个就是直轴那个方向，一条一条都很分明。可是横的蛮模糊，横的模糊，直的还蛮清楚。直的是时间，横的是那个 overtones 那些东西。So that's why broadband is really good for seeing differences, changes over time. And you can also see you can see the formants, but they're 都模糊在一起了。其实 formants 不是真的那么粗黑的一条，中间你会看到一条一条的 overtones。如果你用 narrowband 的话。Do you want to see the difference? Let's find a page with a narrowband, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. They don't have many of them because we don't use narrowband spectrograms that often because we're usually more interested in changes over time. We want to see the rapid changes in the signal. Okay, look on page 210. Figure 8.16, the one below, the one at the bottom. It's the top half of the page, but it's the one below the top figure. Okay, this is what it should look like. Page 210, right down here. Compare this one with this one. Can you see those overtone bands, those overtone stripes? 上面是不是那个 formants 都是粗黑都模糊在一起？可是下面你有没有觉得那一条一条的条纹好清楚？ So this is the one that shows the overtones clearly. 横的what would we say? Orientation. You can see the overtones clearly. 如果是 broadband, you see the vertical pulses clearly. And that shows changes over time. Does that make that part clear? The difference between, yeah. Yeah, those 细的下面的上面的你根本就看不到，下面的那个这里的这一条一条一条 those are the overtones. Do y'all see them here? 这个一条一条的都很清楚。Tina, we okay? 对，那个细的一条一条的，细的一条一条的是 overtones. Anybody need me to point it out? If you're not quite sure, good. Just ask. 你看这样子的一条一条一条 those are the overtones.
Black lines.
That's right, and they look sharp here. But here we can't see them at all. We see the formants. They're blurred together. But here the overtones are all very feminine. So you see it, and then the two of you, you know, right? So no problem. 就是细细的下面的一条一条的 those are the overtones. They're blurred together in the broadband. Okay, and our auditor too. These are the overtones. Yeah, and they're blurred together in the broadband. Okay, the two of you? So each individual stripe is an overtone. They're all blurred together in the broadband. We can see the formants, but they blur the overtones together. 它是 overtones 构成的，可是看不出个别的 overtone， 用 narrowband 才看得出来。
Does that mean this darker one are the resonance, but other overtones are still
Just
have
plain
sound?
overtones. Right, they don't have anything strengthening them, making them 响亮.
But
That's
there's
right.
still some sound.
That's right, that's right. They're not being strengthened, but they're there. But they're going to be overwhelmed by the formants. That's right, okay? So, Sophie? 对，就是 page 210. Yeah. Page 210. These are the overtones, the stripes. And when it gets really dark, those are the formants. So the formants blur all the overtones together. Actually, they're there, but they're all blurred together. But here, each overtone has femming, and here we've got a formant. That's why it's so dark. Okay? Anybody else need anything pointed out or explained? 可以吗? Yeah.
所以一个 format 是好几个 overtone。
That's right. 它有个范围. The center frequency is going to be the most powerful. That's called the center frequency. 刚好在它当中的那个 frequency 反应会最激烈。可是左右某一个范围内，它也有一点反应，只是没有那么激烈。中间的那个最强。然后都有程式可以把它算出来。And if you're interested, we'll get into it. Not right now, though. We've got a lot of information going. Long as you understand how it works. It has sort of like a bell curve of damping. And I can tell you one more thing. I don't know if you'll get it, but I'll just throw it out there, and we may come back to it in the future. If something has a very, let's say, like a tuning fork. When you hit a tuning fork, I didn't bring one today, it goes ping, and it lasts a very long time. 因为它音调得很准，它就是发出一个音，调得很准。Right? 音差 exactly, a tuning fork. However, every object has a natural frequency, but let's say this desktop, 这个调得很准吗？这个音调得很准吗？ So let's 拍一下 see if you can hear a musical pitch of some kind. 它还是有 pitch, 可是它有没有持续很久？因为它的 pitch 调得不准，它就是很散，一个大概就那么大一块粗粗的，没有去雕，也没有去调音，它就是很多 frequency。差不多多少就是上上下下一堆 So it does have a pitch 可是它蛮散因为它没有去调可是音差它就是特别设计来就是发出一个音就调得很准很准 That means it's only one note But this one is giving us several notes And it doesn't really care that much about any of the notes 大概就是那个范围都可以了所以这是个很花心的男生他就是见异思迁，他就是说一下子很多没关系，可是不能持久。可是这个人就很专一哦，非常专心，他只要这个音他就可以很持久。So just remember that. That makes it easy to remember, doesn't it? 反正世界就是这样子 ，right? 对他喜欢太多的频率的话，每一个都没有办法很久了。他是喜欢那个，Oh, he gets so excited. 然后呢？欲罢不能了，没有办法停下来。That's really true. Now you've understood a lot. So you're going to see different shaped curves that will describe the decay of the sound. If it is a sound like this, it will just decay very quickly. 它就是这样子一个声音，然后很快就平了，没什么声音。But if it's very, very carefully tuned or very tuned to just one note, 它的那个 decay 的时间会很长 So you'll hear that resonance going on for quite a while. All right? Now, remember to use a narrow band spectrogram to see overtones clearly. It is these formant patterns that create different vowel qualities. It's pulling all of these different pitches of F1, F2, F3, etc. But really, etc. doesn't matter. It's only F1, F2, F3 that matter. Because after starting with F4, 它会反映出，比方说你的头的大小，或者说你的那个骨头的那个密度之类的啊。But it doesn't really tell you anything about the language. It tells you more stuff about your head and about other things. So it's really only F1, F2, F3 that give us information about the vowels. So it's like a 3-note chord. 一个有3个音的一个和弦。就可以发出一个母音 Now, you're still not so sure about this. It may be a little hard to visualize. But you can see how this works in actual practice with the following remarkable demonstration from the Exploratorium Science Museum of San Francisco. I went to San Francisco in 2005 for an Mbiro workshop, African thumb piano. 我去学一个非洲乐器 And I had one day at the end of the workshop before I flew back. and I was going to go to the Exploratorium and see this exhibit. But that day was Monday. Ugh. So I 没有缘去 Exploratorium, but they do amazing things. If you go to San Francisco, don't do it on a Monday. Go to the Exploratorium. They have amazing exhibits, and I'm so thankful to them for this one because this one really helps us understand vowels. It starts with a sound source. For their sound source, they don't use human vocal folds and a sound made from them. They use a duck call. Now, I have a duck call at home. I should have thought to bring it because 今天东西带的一多，我就没想到那么多. But when you blow on it, it goes. It sounds sort of like that. Or it makes a sound like that. We'll hear a demonstration in a minute. We're going to use that for the vocal folds. In fact, if you don't have the vocal fold or the vocal tract above it, the sound of the vocal folds just vibrating, do you know what it sounds like? I'm going to demonstrate. It goes zzz. That's what it sounds like. It's shocking because our voice is something humans like. We love the human voice, right? We feel very 亲切 and we understand language. But if we didn't have the vocal tract up here giving us those different formants, we would hear a duck call. Zzz. That's all we would hear. We're right in the heat of the thing. I mean, finding out what a vowel is. We gotta find out. Okay, any comments or questions before we continue? Are you all with me? Everyone's with me, right? All right, exciting stuff coming up, promise you. It's been pretty exciting so far, right? More stuff coming. All right. So, this may be a little hard to visualize, but we're going to use this demonstration from the Exploratorium in San Francisco. It starts with a sound source. In this case, we're not using the human vocal folds as a sound source. It's a duck call. That's how it sounds. And it's really like your vocal folds vibrating to make a sound. Over this vibrating sound source, you add plastic tubes modeled after the vocal tract when it's making one of the 5 vowels. So I'm going to jump ahead and show you some MRI images of the vocal tract while it is making different vowels. And it's right here. MRI, 每个人都懂吗？都知道吗？ There's explanations on the internet if you need them. All right? If you take an MRI of the vocal tract, these are male, these are female. Female ones are going to be smaller. These are the different vowels. This is what the vocal tract looks like when you're making the different vowels. So you can see with E, this part is very small, remember? F2 is very small with E, 对不对？舌头很靠前面，对不对？所以那空间很小。You can see that right here. That's F2. And F1 is going to be bigger. And there's E, I, A, A. And some of them I'm not sure, 因为它用的不是那个 IPA, but we will know when we hear them. And then ow, oo, And I'm not sure about them. They look like they're repeating, but we will find out when we hear the other demonstration. Okay? So we're going to go to Exploratorium. We'd better just close this down. Too much stuff here. All right, vocal vowels. Holoplastic models of the human vocal tract turn the squawk of a duck call into vowel sounds. To do a notice, here is the sound source. It's really a repackaged duck call. Notice the reed above. It's a reed here. 这里有一个黄，就是双簧管的簧，一个竹字头，一个黄色的黄。这是个黄，它会震动。Notice the reed above the curved wooden surface. That's this. Air blows past the reed from right to left. It's coming in here. And it's going to excite this reed, causing it to vibrate and produce a buzzing sound. That's how it sounds. 我刚模仿的还蛮像的。That's a duck call. Now, this sound that you hear is made by the reed as it vibrates. We're going to click on the following pictures. These are modeled after these MRI images of the vocal tract making different vowels. 我们就学它那个发出各种母音的声道的不同的大小，好像几个管子接在一起的那种东西。We're going to model it using plastic tubes. This is for ah. So here we've got the duck call is here. They're blowing in that sound. It's going to go in here. And we're going to see how it sounds after it goes through those tubes, those different shaped tubes. All right? 蛮像吧? Ah, it sounds like ah, right? Let's try this one. We'll try to do it, but the problem is sometimes they say, oh, this will work. Okay. The next one should be E. 蛮像吧? Okay, and remember that E has got that 很细细的一个 F2. And now we're going to this one. A. And this is for O. Okay, just by changing the size and shape of the tubes that we pull together. And then here we've got, should be U. Okay, 可以吗？蛮像吧? So, we've got the source, we've got that duck call vibration coming in, and then we change the size and shape of the chambers that it's going through. 它进去的那些共鸣箱有不同大小、不同形状. And it's going to accentuate some frequencies and suppress other ones, ignore other ones. So, 比方说 F1 它会加强这些 frequency, F2 会加强一些它一个音的 F1 会加强某一些 F2 也会加强某一些放在一起加上 F3 它就变成一个母音的效果 Wow! Isn't it something? That's a vowel. It's 3 spaces with different resonating frequencies sounded together at the same time by the vocal folds making a fundamental frequency with a bunch of overtones. It picks the ones it likes and it sounds those 3 notes and there's our vowel. Yeah? Cool? All right, now you've been initiated. You've been initiated. Now you know something almost nobody in the Y1C knows. All of them are studying all kinds of languages, but most of them do not know this. How the stuff that they are producing to make language is made, or what causes the sound to be as it is, right? This is the coolest thing in the world, yeah.
Is it possible to make like a sentence do this?
You can. If you put them together and excite them, yeah, you can do that. In fact, you can do it with a computer. You can do it with actual plastic models, but it's easier to just put numbers into a computer. That's easier. And compare the shapes inside these models with the pictures shown below. Each picture shows the shape of your vocal tract when you say a different vowel. We've reproduced the plastic models next to the diagram for your convenience. Note that while the plastic models are straight, the vocal tract is bent almost 90 degrees in the middle. So from here to here, we've got a 90-degree angle, 左右. But it doesn't matter if you bend. If you have a pipe and you're blowing through it, you will get the same frequency if you bend it. 其实你让它转弯一点影响都没有. Because you know like 小号, 它不是那边绕几圈吗? It doesn't matter. As long as it's the same length and the same size. So these are the same things that we've just heard. Okay, and they just let you see the plastic tube 跟那个人的那个声道，它那个相对的关系。So you can see this, and then there's the F2. For E, remember the F2 is very small. For E, or A here, this is about the 比例. For O, it's a middle back vowel, so 它的比例大概是这样子. F2 is quite big, so it has a low pitch, in contrast to E. Okay, and then this one. All right, ooh. This was O. Ooh. Okay? So that's how it works. What's going on? The chamber of each plastic model is shaped like your vocal tract. The cavity formed by your mouth and throat when you speak, each time you say a different vowel, you change the shape of your vocal tract. That's why each model is a little different from the others. The plastic chambers pictures are aligned similar to your vocal tract with the vocal cords duct call at the bottom and the lips at the top. At this exhibit, a puff of air from a bellows. What's a bellows? What's it in Chinese? In 古代的时候，那个火，风箱，对， it's a 风箱, that's it. They have a 风箱, they have a bellows there that you can operate. You push a puff of air into the models and then they make those sounds. A puff of air from a bellows makes the duck call. I don't know if you do it by hand because I didn't get there, like I said, but in any case, it's a bellows. Makes the duck call reed at the end of a hose vibrate, just as the air from your lungs makes your vocal cords vibrate. Like your vocal cords, the vibrating reed produces a complex sound. Remember, it's a complex sound, unlike whistling, which is not a complex sound. It's a very simple sound. Our voice produces a complex sound, meaning it has many overtones. Right. If it produces a lot of overtones, it's a complex sound. If it doesn't, it's just a fundamental frequency. It's a simple sound. That's the difference. So this duck call reed at the end of the hose vibrates just as the air from your lungs makes your vocal cords vibrate. Like your vocal cords, the vibrating reed produces a complex sound composed of many different pitches, many different overtones. Like your vocal tract, the plastic models shape these complex sounds into particular vowel sounds. When a complex sound echoes from the walls of the plastic cavity, some pitches are reinforced, 其中某些音被加强, and some are not, 有一些被忽略了，不理了. It is the reinforcement and cancellation of certain pitches, 有一些音本来在，可是被取消. We'll go into that another time. That changes the squawk of the duck call into a recognizable vowel sound. 它本来是 wah, but then it turns into a vowel that sounds like human speech. And the exhibit now wants to say goodbye to you. Okay, and that's the end of the exploratorium visit. Okay. 震撼力很大吧? If you want to do this yourself, there's an amazing phonetician at University College London. That's where so many of them are, named Mark Huckvale. He has a web page that will teach you how to make these yourself. If you want to make those, you don't have these plastic molds and things, you can do it according to his directions. 他会教你怎么做，什么材料。怎么处理，怎么量，怎么贴. Okay, so if you really are into this stuff, you can do it yourself. That would be a great party trick, you know. One Phonetics 2 student found it hard to believe that our vocal tract really looks or is anything at all like the plastic tubes you see in the demonstration, and we've already seen the MRI gallery. They have a male and a female. It shows what our vocal tract looks like when it's making different vowels, and that bending a tube doesn't affect the frequencies of the sound wave. Think of how horns can be coiled up. We covered that. Isn't it all amazing? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, and if you really want to read up on the science behind it, you can go to Ladifogad's Elements of Acoustic Phonetics, or you can go to Keith Johnson's book on auditory phonetics. He also, I think it's called Auditory and Acoustic Phonetics. I'm not sure, but anyway, it's similar to that. Look up Keith Johnson. You'll find it's his chef d'oeuvre. It's his really wonderful book. I think it's in the 3rd edition now. So more on vowels and formants to come. This is jumping ahead, but if you want to start early, go to page 11. So please review all the pages. If you want to listen to the files again, read over the text to make sure that you've absorbed everything. Okay? So go over those pages. Page 11, remember when I told you that pitch is not that hard to explain? But what did I say was the hardest part of this semester? in acoustic phonetics? Loudness, decibels, that's the hardest part. That is hardcore physics and math. So I've made a tutorial about it, but before you do the tutorial, you need to review 对数, logarithms. They're not hard. They are not hard. And the same guy who designed that wonderful page on how to make resonators, to make your own vowels, he also, on page 11, write this down, page 11, he has designed an 18-page tutorial. Now, 18 sounds long, but each page has only a little bit of information. It's very easy to handle. All you need is one of these. Just have one of these ready. Everybody's going to need a scientific calculator for this class. If you don't have one, buy one. It'll make you feel really important and smart and very scientific because you'll find uses for it from now on. I know we can do it on the computer, but the computer is too slow. Even an iPad, it's not that fun. I mean, 这个很过瘾，这个触感就比较像，比较 satisfying. So get a scientific calculator. They are under 1,000 NT. You can get a cheap one, but they probably won't last. Don't get a really lousy one. Okay, 大概800块，差不多. At least that's what I paid back then. 那是很多年前，现在应该是没有差很多。I think about 800块左右的。You can get a different one, but 对, it's a scientific calculator. 对, it doesn't need tons of stuff, but it needs this stuff. 要不要我传给你们？你们看一下。Here's with a, 我的刚好是 Casio. 对，跟他一起好了。对。All of you, please, if you don't, most of you have one, don't you, or not? Okay, you have one, Miranda. Yeah. If you don't have one, I mean, we all love to shop, right? Don't we love to shop? 这一次去购物是真的很有意义的. Because once you have it, you're going to find more uses for it, and you won't be lazy. When you see a calculation, you're going to try it out yourself. And then you'll read the book on how to use all the different buttons. It's really cool. I went through the whole manual to learn this thing. And I felt really good about it. So go over your math. Don't be intimidated by it. This tutorial will make you think, I can learn anything in math. Remember Christina, who I told you about? This is how she got her push. She got so inspired. And so she got her PhD doing lots and lots of math and physics, but doing speech therapy. Okay? So that's the next one. I think we actually accomplished what I thought would be impossible. We got through all the web pages I planned to. I hoped to. I didn't plan to. I hoped to. It actually happened. So that means that next class we can start on Chapter 8. Now I want you to start on it yourself, please, because it will be easier. And that way, everybody, please start to mark up your text before you read so you know what to stress and where to pause and where to put a continuation rise. And now that you have this background, I think, at least judging from the feedback that I see on your faces, I think all of you understood it. If you understood this, now Chapter 8 is going to make sense. You are ready for it. If we had started Chapter 8 without this, it would have been 一头雾水, I can promise you. Okay? So I don't think I have anything to add to that. Go back to the web pages, play with them, show them to some of your smart friends who are curious. If they're the kind of people who are very passive and only do what they need for the test, then never mind. But if they're the curious kind of classmate, you might want to show them some of this stuff because it will help you what? It will help you review and understand it better. When you explain it to someone else, it will be all the more clear to you. So that, prepare the textbook. Now this stuff is going to make more sense to you. Not this, sorry, I meant to take this book. This book. This will, of course. But this is going to make more sense to you now. Go back over the parts that didn't make sense to you so far. And from now on, you should understand all the chapters okay. Do we have any chapters, comments, feedback? Not chapters, sorry. Any questions, comments, or feedback? Can everybody just say one sentence, your reaction to the stuff that we covered in class today? Everybody just say one sentence. Silly.
I think it's really cool that we can train up a lot of things with some too.
Okay, good. Carol?
I think it's not as difficult as you say.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's not that bad. That's right. Okay, Vivian?
I think I can narrow
So now you feel ready for it. Good. Okay, Amy?
I just think that the vocal folds are actually a tug call.
Yes! That was the thing that impressed you most. Okay, Bella?
It's fascinating.
Yeah, neat stuff? Annie?
It's cool to have the guitar play so we can see it in real life, not just textbook told us.
And not just computer pages or web pages. I think what I remember best is that wonderful humming after Sophie sang at the string. I remember that best. It was so beautiful. Yeah.
Finally, I can understand more clear how the sound really
Is produced.
is produced.
Yeah. Okay, Miranda?
It's fun and fascinating to actually experiment the material.
With physical objects. It makes a difference, doesn't it? Remember I told you about toys? We still have more toys. That's not out. We have more toys coming. Okay. Tina?
I learned about 共振 in junior high school.
Good.
I didn't know the real meaning of 共振, but now I know how it works.
Good. Do you kind of think back on the things you did in junior high and you think, oh, that's what they were talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You too?
Yeah.
Okay. Wendy?
Finally can tell my boyfriend that something he doesn't know about.
Which friend?
It's like a boyfriend.
Ah.
It's a physics student.
Ah. Does he show off with his scientific stuff sometimes?
Yeah, it was really annoying.
Ah, so now you're one up on him. I know something you don't know. Okay, that's it. The bell has rung. Have an exciting rest of the day.